everyone! I just want to say thank you for coming back and also sorry for the chaos that is currently in my room. I also just want to say a special thank you to all of my patrons. I've currently got 3, which is such a major thing because it's amazing to me that you guys are willing to support me and to help me make a success out of this whole writing thing. Tyrian, Janetta, Bethany, thank you very much. It's actually Bethany who asked me the question that I'm going to answer today. She asked me, if you have a new idea, how do you keep track of all of your plots and subplots, and how do you keep track of the story? It all depends on what kind of writer you are. Do you plot, or do you actually just fly by the seat of your pants as you write? If you are going to plot a story, I think the easiest way to do it would be using software like Scrivener, which is an awesome program. I actually use it as well sometimes. The capability it has that's so amazing for keeping track is that you can actually do what they call a corkboard, which has little virtual post-it notes that you write notes on. So you can say, this is what happens in this scene, this is what happens in the next scene, and so on. And then more than that, you can actually label it. So you can say one color is for a subplot, one color is for your main plot, and so forth and so on. It's actually the perfect way to keep track visually of what's going on in your story. I have some friends who physically do this exact same thing where they take post-it notes or pieces of paper and they dedicate an entire wall. For example, I think one of my friends, she writes fantasy and she dedicates, I think, a dining room wall, an entire dining room wall, to literally plan out scene by scene every single thing that needs to happen as she writes. The nice thing about doing this is if you plan it out this way, you have your entire story ahead of time, so you can literally look at it. It's almost like having a synopsis before you start writing. You have scene by scene, blow by blow, every single thing that needs to happen, and you can look at this, and if you use something like color coding, you can actually see where your story is lacking a spot that's progressing a certain subplot, for example, or basically anything. You can see if you have a character that's only serving a single purpose and then never does anything else. That will also come out if you plan it this way. So what you then do is you can combine characters or whatever. So this is a nice way of doing it. Some variation of it usually is something that the plotters do. I do it when I'm rewriting, but that's a whole other post of why I rewrite. But basically, if you're going to plan your book, this is the best way to do it. Personally, I'm actually more of a pantser. I go by instinct as I'm writing my books. So for the first draft, what I literally do is I don't actually keep track of my subplots at all, because the way I see it, a rough draft is to experience a story and to find the story actually more than anything else. If I was to make a nice little analogy of this, it's if you're planning ahead, it's almost like going through your story with a map. What I like to do though is just make the map myself, so I'm going to go walk in all directions and take a look at every single thing that catches my attention, and I just basically write. And then when I get to the point where I realize, okay, no, this is where I want to go, then what I do is I stop and I actually restart the whole thing. And then what I do is I physically plan out everything step by step using the corkboard function on Scrivener before I start. Which I know, it sounds rather odd, but it is actually the best way for me to work, because I have a problem, especially with the War of Six Crowns, because it's such a big story to actually try and plan out everything ahead of time. So I find that writing it out first actually just distills the idea for a specific book for me. So that's how I do it. Basically, that's pretty much it. And then what I think I should also mention about keeping track of plot lines. You're probably not going to get them all correct, even if you plan ahead of time. You won't have them all right in your rough draft already. So basically what I do is I do my best, I rough draft, go crazy, then find the pieces I like and put those into an idea and put them into a plot that I have planned out on Scrivener. Even then, I know that I'm going to have some major issues with places that are lacking and places that need to be filled in more or whatever. Or even sometimes having too much subplot that doesn't progress just the overall plot, so then I have to cut that out. But what I do is actually I do that after the fact. So I will finish my rough draft and finish my rewrite, and then I will have a revision phase during which I will read through the entire book and see where I need to put more stuff and where I need to build and where I need to take away. And then I do that all in edits. So it's not necessarily as much to keep track of my plot points and not to keep track of my subplots as much as actually just finding where they are lacking and fixing them. If it's a major rewrite where I have a lot of things going on, for example with War of Six Crowns, I will actually go and do a reread specifically for specific subplots and look if those actually have their complete arcs as they're supposed to, and fix those piece by piece until the whole thing is correct. Yeah, and that's my answer. I hope that helps you a lot, and if anyone has a question about this or has a question about writing in general, please feel free to let me know, and I will try and address this in the next vlog, or I will even answer you in the comments. I will also give you a shout out if you give me an idea for a next vlog post. If you are wondering where you can find me on the internet and where you can find my books, I have made all of those links available in the description below. Find me on Patreon, on Tumblr, I am on Twitter. I also recently joined Instagram, and I'd love to see all of you guys there. So just scroll down, check out the description, and click the links to your heart desire. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye bye.